What's up, guys? It's James here from Smoking UK, where we review, communicate, and educate all things tobacco. Today, I'm going over a few things that nobody told me when I first started smoking cigars. It's perfect and aimed at every beginner cigar smoker. I've already got one on the go. Let's run the intro and let's find out about some of the mistakes I made. This is going to be fun. Run that intro.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
Now, I know what it feels like. When you first start smoking cigars, the world seems almost really daunting. There's so many different type of ones, from different regions to different sizes, different brand names. Some are in Spanish, some are in English. You've got some that are real cigar aficionados. You've got some that are really cheap, some that are really expensive. And just walking into a tobacconist or first looking online, you don't really know what you're looking for. And the problem that I had is I had to smoke a couple of cigars that I didn't really like because I didn't really know what I was looking for. But I want you to know that there is a huge variety of cigars and you're going to get a completely different smoking experience depending on which one you go for. Cigars are grown all over the world. Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Brazil, Cuba. You got some that are in the US, you got Cameroon, Indonesia, all over. And there's also other little countries that are experimenting in growing their own tobacco as well, which is absolutely incredible. But I think the one thing that a lot of beginner smokers think, and what a lot of people outside of the smoking world coming in thinks, tobacco is tobacco and cigars are cigars. And to a certain extent, you're right, a cigar is a cigar. But depending on where they come from depends on the flavor profile you're going to get. How they're grown depends on the kind of strength you're going to get, but we'll move on to that a little bit later. If you smoke a cigar which is Cuban, which 9 times out of 10 is a Cuban Puro, and when I say the word Puro, what I mean is the wrapper, binder, and filler all come from the same region, but I'll cover that again in a following tip. But if I smoke a Cuban, I'm going to get a very different smoking experience than if I smoked a cigar that's purely from Nicaragua. And same again if I smoke something that's completely Dominican Republic. And each one of these regions produces their own kind of way, different flavor profiles, and you can expect different things from different cigars. I'm at the point now where I can light up a cigar and I can kind of hazard a guess from the flavor profiles that I'm getting and the strength, roughly where that tobacco comes from. But a great example is Dominican Republic. Famous for producing a lot of earthy notes and quite a bit of black pepper spice. If you've never smoked anything before in your life, that could come across really dominating and send your palate into a bit of a blind panic and might not be the best cigar for you. It's always best to do your research into where that cigar has come from, and this is why we clearly point out on all of our cigar products exactly where each region of that cigar has come from. And if you don't know what you're looking for, by all means contact our customer services, shoot us a DM. I'll answer all your DMs and I will help you personally pick a cigar for you. Another thing that people miss, and a lot of old school smokers think it's absolutely insane, especially if people are used to smoking the smaller cigarillos, is you do not inhale a cigar. It's not like a cigarette, it's not like a vape, where a cigarette has so many chemicals mixed in that you're taking down to your lungs. A cigar is not about that. A cigar is about taste. It's about presentation. It's about relaxation and camaraderie that comes with it. It's all about flavor. You simply draw the smoke into your mouth, maybe swirl it around the mouth for a second or two, and exhale straight out, and concentrate and focus in on the flavor profiles that you're getting. And Steve Harvey said it the best. Cigar smoking is like yoga. It's about focusing your mind and being within the moment. It's about taking that nice deep breath in, holding, and breathing out. It might seem silly now, but when you're smoking this cigar for an hour and a half, I'm guaranteed you'll be relaxed. Another reason why you don't want to be inhaling a cigar smoke is because the cigar smoke is a lot more dense when compared to a vape or a cigarette. And I can guarantee when that cigar smoke first hits your lungs, you need to put your hands out and get ready to catch it, because the coughing fit that you're going to produce is going to be insane. Every cigar smoker does it at some point. I still do it now every now and then. If I get distracted while I'm taking a puff, I inhale a little bit, and I still choke to this day, and I've been smoking cigars for years. Do not inhale a cigar. Be in the moment. Focus the mind. Maybe pour yourself a drink to pair with it, which we'll move on later. And focus on every sensation that you're getting. Focus on the smell in the air that the cigar is producing. Focus on the flavor profiles you're getting dancing around the palate. Focus on how comfortable you are holding the stick and being in the moment. Focus on what your eyes are getting and the presentation on that stick. Listen to the crackling you get when you draw the smoke through and you can feel the embers burning. It's a whole sensory experience smoking a cigar. That's the one thing a lot of people miss out on. We don't smoke these to get the nicotine hit. We smoke these to be in the moment. Another thing that I wasn't aware of is the cigar size matters, and the cigar size will offer you a completely different smoking experience. I can take the exact same cigar, so the same blend, get one in a 6x60, meaning it is a thicker ring gauge. I could smoke it in a Robusto at a 50, so a smaller ring gauge, and I could smoke the Corona, which is between 42 and 44, which is a smaller ring gauge again, but we could still get the same length. And I could get 3 completely different smoking experiences. The thinner the ring gauge is, the more concentrated the smoke is hitting your palate, so you're going to experience a bit more of a stronger flavour profile. Let's take this size for example. 60 ring gauge. Very wide. If this was a little bit too light, people weren't really experiencing the flavour profiles that you should be getting from this cigar, I'd recommend go down one. And they're going to come across a lot stronger. This is a cigar as a bad example. It's a very light cigar. It's smoking absolutely beautifully, full of flavour. Very light, very creamy. And if someone wanted this, but to be really attacking the palate, I'd recommend to go down to like a Corona size. The size also depends on how much of a particular tobacco you're going to get compared to others. Let's take this one for example. Because it is a wider ring gauge, so the girth of this cigar is a lot thicker, I'm going to be experiencing a lot more of the filler tobaccos, that is the tobaccos that are rolled up right in the middle, more than anything else, because more filler tobaccos had to be placed within this cigar for it to produce this size. If I was going to go smoke the Corona, which is smaller, so there's less fillers, but there's a little bit more of the wrapper, I'm going to get more flavour profiles from the wrapper. This is a great example. This wrapper is called a barber pole. That is 2 different types of tobaccos, which are then rolled to create this beautiful winding sequence that we get on this stick, which looks absolutely incredible. But the size also determines on how long you're going to be smoking for. The wider the ring gauge, the slower it's going to burn. When I first started smoking this, it was a 6x60, so an average smoke time of about an hour and a half, 2 hours, all depending on how quick you smoke. However, if I smoke this in a 42 ring gauge, I might only have this cigar for an hour because it's burning quicker. More surface area, the slower it's going to burn. So it all depends on how long you want to sit down and smoke. Personally, if you've never smoked a cigar before and you're a complete beginner, you're trying to learn everything about a cigar before you go and pick it, 60 ring gauge really is not for you. I personally wouldn't go anything above a 50. You don't want to be sitting down for 2 hours smoking a cigar if you don't know if you're going to enjoy it. Or worst case scenario, you spend all this money on a really large cigar and you absolutely hate it and you've wasted your money. There's some amazing Corona sizes and amazing Robusto sizes at a really incredibly affordable price, which we always strive for here at Smoking. Taking out the cigar strength, the cigar size is one of the most important factors you should be thinking about when first picking your first cigar. Another thing people didn't really tell me about was strength. Cigars, of course, come in different strengths. You have light bodied, you have medium bodied, you have full bodied. Sometimes you get medium full, sometimes you get medium light, which is obviously a little bit that's in between. Now, you can kind of hazard a guess what this means. The fuller the body the cigar, the stronger it's going to be. And that's not necessarily just the flavor profiles. That's going to be the amount of nicotine and how hard that is going to hit your palate and how hard that is going to hit yourself. If you've never touched a cigar before, stay away from full-bodied cigars. Completely write it off. Get your body used to the smoke. Get your body used to the feeling and the sensation of smoking a cigar. Find out if you like it first. Once you've sampled a couple of lighter cigars, go to medium. Work your way up through the ranks. It's the best way to do it. Once you've smoked a couple of medium cigars and you feel very comfortable, you feel very happy with smoking it, go for the full body and find out what you like. Personally, for me, I don't really smoke many full-bodied cigars, and I've been smoking cigars for years, but it's all down to personal preference. And I know some people that will only smoke full-bodied cigars, but it's all down to you. If you're picking your first cigar, go for something light. The best way you can pick this is go find something with a Connecticut tobacco, which is famous and commonly known as being a really light tobacco. But we'll cover that in a completely different video, because I'm going to be sitting down here for an hour talking about the different regions of cigars tobacco. And another thing that nobody mentioned to me when I first started smoking cigars, and unfortunately I had to find out the hard way, and I did just previously mention it, is never smoke a cigar on an empty stomach. You can get really nauseous, you can feel really sick, very lightheaded, and it's not going to be a great experience for you. There is a video out there somewhere, and it probably will come out one day, of me smoking a cigar at the very early stages of me reviewing sticks. Had an empty stomach, thought I'd be okay, and you see me go green and I go white, I throw up, and then I pass out off camera. And it can happen. I've been at cigar events where people have turned up on a completely empty stomach. We've smoked 2 or 3 cigars back to back. They've thrown up and ended up had to get in a taxi to go home. Still to this day, and I've been smoking cigars for years, I will always have something to eat before I sit down and smoke a cigar. I had an entire meal before filming this video. And along with that is making sure you're completely hydrated. And that's not just filling yourself up on a load of caffeine to sit down and smoke a cigar. Really make sure you're hydrated. Take on a lot of water, whether it's sparkling or still. Make sure you've also got some water to the side. I have now, and I've been smoking cigars for years. I've literally got a glass off camera just in case I start having a bit of a wobble, I start feeling a bit nauseous, a bit sick. I've got that drink there available for me. Another thing that you need to be making sure you're doing as a beginner cigar smoker, which nobody told me, is if you are done, you are done. Put the cigar down. Don't force yourself to finish the cigar. And it's a question we get asked a lot, is when do I know a cigar is done? The best way I can explain it is you'll know. You know when you're done with something. It's like eating a meal. You know when you're full. It's like drinking water, you know when you've had enough. And that's the same with a cigar. If you have this much left of the cigar, put it down. Don't force yourself just because you have that much left to get yourself through it, because that's when you can start getting really nauseous. That's when you can start getting sick. And what you got to remember is the first thing we mentioned, cigars are about relaxation. If you're at the point where you're not relaxed smoking it, that cigar is not fulfilling its purpose. Put the cigar down, and if you want to, come back to it later. Another thing that's worth a mention is the cigar flavors. Now, I talk about cigar flavorings a lot on this channel, especially in our reviews. I could tell you everything I'm tasting with this cigar, and it's time for some harsh truth. When you first start smoking cigars, you're probably not gonna taste anything. You're gonna taste tobacco because your palate hasn't developed yet. It's like being a chef. You could give a steak to Gordon Ramsay, he could bite into it and tell you everything that steak has been seasoned with. I know I like steak, but I could bite into it and tell if it tastes good, but I couldn't tell you anything that went into the seasoning of it. Your palate comes with time, and it comes from smoking loads of different cigars, making a mental note, or getting a cigar journal, getting a notepad, write down all the stuff that you are tasting at that point, and compare it. And the one thing I want to put it out there and make everybody aware of it is sometimes your palate won't develop. I know people who've been smoking cigars for decades longer than me and can't taste anything when they smoke a cigar, but they still enjoy the process of smoking it. They love the taste of tobacco. Fall in love with the process of enjoying a cigar. The ritual, the cutting, the lighting, the smoking. Do not focus so much on the flavor profiles. And unless you're getting an actual flavored cigar, when we say it tastes like a particular thing, that isn't necessarily mean it's a dominant flavor. It's a note. All cigars taste like tobacco. There's just other tobaccos that give off certain notes or certain aromas in the air or textures in the mouth that produce a certain flavor or note. If I smoke a cigar and I say, this is really creamy and I'm getting a lot of vanilla, doesn't mean it tastes like ice cream. It just means the notes that I'm getting off that particular tobacco is slightly creamier because I have quite a defined palate. Some people don't necessarily have that. So don't focus on the flavor. Focus on the relaxation and the ritual of enjoying a cigar. Another thing that people never told me is there is actually a right and wrong way on how to cut and light your cigar. Now, I could sit down for ages now and take up an entire moment of your day teaching you how to cut and light your cigar. However, we've already got videos on that, so I'll leave a link down in the description below. The one thing I do want to point out when cutting your cigar is to make sure you never ever cut past the cap. Now, at the top of the cigar here, you'll see that this particular one has a cap that goes circular around this way, and you might see the faint line that is here. If you remove that entire cap, this cigar would come unrolled. You're going to get bad construction and it's going to be really uncomfortable to hold in your mouth. It's going to fall apart and you're going to essentially have wasted your money. Never cut past the cap line, and you'll always see the cap of the cigar on every cigar that you smoke. But I'll leave the link down in the description below to go check out that full video. And finally, the thing that I want to say the most is there are no rules to smoking a cigar. Every cigar smoker has their own personal connection and their own personal journey when smoking cigars. Some of us choose to store our cigars in a certain way. Some people think it's ridiculous. I personally, off camera, have a nice big fridge cooler door which holds about 250 cigars. I've also got a desktop humidor with glass. Some people are really against glass. Some people will not use a humidor at all. Some people don't believe in retrohaling, where you take the smoke up and out through your nose to really optimize the flavor profiles that you're getting. Some people will do a retrohale religiously. I do. Every third puff, I do a retrohale. Some people only light their cigars using cedar spills. Some people only light their cigars using matches. Some will only use a torch like I do. And when you're part of social media groups and when you're seeing content like this, people will tell you there is a right and wrong way to do things, where realistically, breaking it down, there isn't. It's all down to personal preference. I have my way of doing things and enjoying cigars. You have your way of doing things and doing cigars. Paul Green might have certain ways of doing his cigars. Jono, our photographer, might have a different process of smoking cigars. Claire, the big boss of smoking, has her own way of smoking cigars and storing cigars. There's a right and wrong way to smoke it when it comes to not inhaling. There is a right and wrong way to cut it so you don't go past your cap. But other than that, it's totally down to you. Do not let anybody else influence you and tell you what is right and what is wrong, and that you should be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that. I'm here to help, we are here to educate, and we're here to make sure you enjoy your very first cigar and hopefully start a long-lasting love and passion like it did for me. I never planned on smoking cigars completely. For me, it was going to be a great thing to celebrate with. Then I discovered a love and a passion, and many years later, I'm smoking them full time for an amazing company. We all have our own paths. We all have our own ways. And the way I got to where I am is by smoking the cigar the way I want to. So that's it, guys. I hope that's given you some kind of guidance to picking your first cigar. Obviously, I haven't helped you personally pick a cigar out in this video, but we've got plenty of cigar reviews over on our channel. So hit that subscribe button, go over to the channel now, go find out some amazing cigars that we've got. I've recently uploaded a video of our top 5 cigars that you should be trying during 2025. Go check that out. We might find you an absolutely great cigar on there. If you do need help picking out your first cigar, that is personally my favorite thing in the world to do. Shoot us a DM over on social media. I will personally help you pick your first cigar, or call into our customer services, or shoot us an email. We will help you every way we can. We're not here just to make sales. We're here to start your journey, and we want to come along with you. So hit that subscribe button. Go follow us on social media. I've been James. We have been smoking, and we'll see you in future videos. Welcome to the family.